Right, Shalom. First, I'd like to give all praises unto Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, and double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and honors to you brothers out there in the highways and the byways, teaching this word in all sincerity and in truth. And I just want to go into a lesson edifying on leprosy in the house. And I also want to segue, once I've broken that down, into how this entire kingdom, civilization or group of civilizations which is on earth right now, is likened unto leprosy of a house, man. And there's only one solution, and that means everything needs to be dissolved, and we got to start all over again from scratch. Just like when a house is condemned under the plague of leprosy, the house has to be demolished, taken apart, and you're gonna have to build a whole new house. All right, because this society, this civilization, man, it can't be healed, it can't be treated, it's condemned. All right, and that's the bottom line. You can't think you're gonna change this little bit and change that a bit and make it okay. It ain't gonna work. This whole system needs to be dissolved, man, as the scriptures say, and a whole new system, a new heavens and a new earth needs to be brought into place, man, based upon the wisdom and the knowledge of Yahweh Shai. So without any further delay, let's go into Leviticus, the 14th chapter and the 33rd verse. It says, "And Yahweh spake unto Moses and Aaron, saying, When ye be come into the land of Canaan, which I give to you for a possession, and I put the plague of leprosy in a house of the land of your possession, and he that owneth the house shall come and tell the priest, saying, It seemeth to me there is as it were a plague in the house. Then the priest shall command they empty the house before the priest go into it to see the plague, that all that is in the house be not made unclean, and afterward the priest shall go in to see the house, and he shall look on the plague, and behold, if the plague be in the walls of the house with hollow strakes, greenish or reddish, which in sight are lower than the wall, then the priest shall go out of the house to the door of the house, and shut up the house 7 days. And the priest shall come again the 7th day, and shall look, and behold, if the plague be spread in the walls of the house, then the priest shall command that they take away the stones in which the plague is, and they shall cast them into the unclean place without the city." So what it's talking about here is mold, which is very, very dangerous. And there's a lot of people right now who are suffering, them and their family, of various illnesses and diseases, not knowing that really the root cause of their illnesses is a plague in the house, which is the mold. All right, and I'm going to show you a clip on that. But basically what the priest would do, where he would see the plague, they would remove those particular stones to basically try and save the house, try and cut off the plague. And then, come back in 7 days and see what's up. "And the priest shall come again the 7th day, and shall look, and behold, if the plague be spread in the walls of the house, then the priest shall command that they take away the stones in which the plague is, and they shall cast them into an unclean place without the city. And he shall cause the house to be scraped within round about, and they shall pour out the dust that they scraped off without the city into an unclean place." So they take out those stones and they clean the house down. But guess what? If the plague, according to the will of the Lord, is so ingrained within the house, then there's no manner of cleansing you can do. Guess what's going to happen? Unless, obviously, like I said, if the instance is the will of the Lord that plague be so ingrained within the house, even if you clean it, you ain't really ever going to be able to clean it all. because it's ingrained in the material. It says, and he shall cause the house to be scraped within round about, and they shall pour out the dust that they scraped off without the city unto an unclean place. And they shall take other stones and put them in the place of those stones, and he shall take other mortar and shall plaster the house. And if the plague come again and break out in the house, after that he have taken away the stones, and after he have scraped the house, and after it was plastered, then the priest shall come and look, and behold, if the plague be spread in the house, it is a fretting leprosy in the house. It is unclean. All right, and let's look up the word a fretting leprosy. All right, so this leprosy is basically, it's ingrained within this house, man. It said to pain, prick, irritate, be pain, to be bitter. All right, malignant leprosy. All right, raw as a wound, meaning it ain't healing. It ain't going away. All right, and that's the wickedness and the corruption of this society, man. It's ingrained into every institution, and every area of this world is corrupt, man, to the core. You can't clean it. You can't. The only thing you can do is the same thing you do with a house that has fretting leprosy. This whole earth has a fretting leprosy, man. You can't take over the healthcare system or take over the agriculture system and clean it up. It's totally gone. It's totally corrupt. It's ingrained now. It just needs to be dissolved, and a whole new system or building needs to replace it. And that's exactly what's going to happen. All right, just like in this case, it says, then the priest shall come and look, and behold, if the plague be spread in the house, it is a fretting leprosy in the house, it is unclean. And he shall break down the house, the stones of it, and the timber thereof, and all the mortar of the house. So everything, the whole house needs to be dissolved, needs to be broken down. It's a fretting leprosy. You can't build on it. You can't do nothing with it, man. You can't take a piece out and put a fresh piece in and rehabilitate. There's no rehabilitation. There's no rehabilitation. It needs to be dissolved. You need to build a new house from scratch, from the bottom up. And that's what's going to happen. A new kingdom is going to arise from the bottom up. We ain't going to take over Esau's kingdom and, put ourselves in, and then we're going to make a few changes here and there. No, we're going to set up in the spirit of Yahushua a whole new kingdom, a new heavens and a new earth wherein dwelleth righteousness. The old kingdom, everything from this side of the world is going to be dissolved. It's going to pass away. The fashions of this world, they're going to completely pass away. We're going to have to start again. And he shall break down the house, the stones of it, and the timber thereof, and all the mortar of the house, and he shall carry them forth out of the city into an unclean place. Moreover, and that's the point, right? The whole house, because it had a fretting leprosy, meaning that leprosy was out of control. It couldn't be cleansed. You where you see it, you took that bit out, put in new, and it still come back. That means it's ingrained in that house. The whole thing needs to be dissolved. All right. Moreover, he that goeth into the house all the while that it is shut up shall be unclean until the evening. And he that lieth in the house shall wash his clothes, and he that eateth in the house shall wash his clothes. And if the priest come in and look upon it, and behold, the plague hath not spread in the house after the house was plastered, then the priest shall pronounce the house clean, because the plague is healed. And he shall take to cleanse the house 2 birds and cedar wood and scarlet and hyssop. All right, and now that was in the case where the house was able to be rehabilitated. All right, but, and you go back up there, hey, if it couldn't be rehabilitated, hey, as it is written here, you got to break down the house, man. And that's what's going to happen to this man's kingdom. Now I want to play a quick clip and show you how even going back in the Bible, the dangers of mold, leprosy of the house was point blank explained in the scriptures, and we have it in the law how to deal with it. And even in Esau's modern day super technological, super intellectual, smartest man that's ever been on the history of the planet Earth and ever will be, according to him, you got people that are still ignorant of the dangers of mold. Whereas if our people, according to the law, were not ignorant to the dangers of mold, because it was in our law that this thing should be known to the people. Whereas in Esau society, most people are not aware of mold and its dangers. So I'm gonna play this clip, and after that I'm gonna shut it out. So shalom.
Andrea and Chris Fabry used to live in this beautiful 5,500 square foot home with their 9 kids and 2 dogs. They had it all. Chris, a successful Christian radio host and author, and the kids thriving at school, home, and church. But in 2007, they discovered mold in this bathroom. The Fabrys cut into the wall, accidentally releasing spores and setting off a series of health problems. They ranged from rashes to diabetes, and then worse. Chris Fabry remembers 11-year-old Reagan's constant vertigo.
This was a child I had to literally carry to the bathroom so he could throw up. And no doctor would say, they would say, you can't have vertigo all the time. That's not possible.
10-year-old Caitlin had to give up reading after her vision blurred. Next, 7-year-old Colin became sick.
He would be doubled over with abdominal pain, sobbing, and migraines where he would scream. His headaches would be so severe that he would just literally sit there and scream. And then it was all 4 kids. Then every night was like that.
At this point, the Fabrys had no idea that mold was to blame. Part of the problem, remediators used fans on the mold, spreading toxic spores throughout the home. Also, 30 doctors questioned the Fabrys, but not one asked about their environment.
I would have doctor after doctor look at me and say, have you thought of a psychologist for him or her? Have you thought of just sending them back and giving them a little bit of tough love? I think that's what they need.
Finally, a year later, an indoor air test confirmed Andrea's deepening suspicion. Dangerously high counts of mold spores in several rooms. The toxicologist told the family, your house is killing you. Get out. And so they left, leaving behind everything, even putting down their 2 dogs to prevent future contamination. It turns out that there's only a handful of doctors in the country who specialize in treating mold. And so the Fabrys decided to move to Arizona to seek the help of Dr. Michael Gray, who specializes in treating mold and practices in rural Benson, just south of Tucson.
The Fabrys have had a pattern of illness that reflects what we've been seeing with other patients.
Gray says urine tests confirmed high levels of toxins in all 11 family members. But he doesn't blame their doctors. He blames the medical system.
It is an area that is not well taught, and it is not well recognized.
Dr. David Jacobs is a former HUD director and now leads research for the National Center for Healthy Housing.
We are still struggling to understand, which species of mold produce which specific health outcomes.
Jacobs estimates that up to 25% of U.S. homes have a mold problem. It's a recognized hazard going all the way back to Bible times. In Leviticus 14, the Lord commands Moses and Aaron to follow up on mold complaints. The priest must go in and check it. He must look carefully at the mold that is on the walls. Today, the World Health Organization says exposure to toxic mold can hurt the cardiovascular and pulmonary systems and even lead to death. The Department of Defense calls one type of mold proven lethal agents in warfare. A lengthy report cites symptoms including vomiting, bleeding, shock, and rapid death.
These substances that we're talking about include amongst them the most toxic substances known to humankind that are naturally occurring in the environment. And because we use them for chemical warfare, we need to know how to protect our troops.
But the EPA's website has just one paragraph on how mold can cause health problems. It emphasizes allergies and concludes research is ongoing. The trouble, says Jacobs, is Congress has failed to make mold a priority.
There is no uniform training curricula that's out there that all the states can use and adapt. We do have that for lead and for radon.
We're breathing mold right now. It's not whether or not there's mold in your home. It's just whether or not there's unsafe levels of mold in your home.
David Collier's company cleans up mold. The key, he says, is keeping your home dry.
There's a lot of opportunity for water to drip inside here, and it's a dark area.
Areas to watch for: leaking pipes under sinks, water coming in around windows, and unventilated bathrooms. For the Fabrys, it's unknown if their Colorado home will ever be livable again. For now, they are simply trying to recover.
Hey. Oh, boy.
The goal: healthy eating and avoiding public places which trigger newfound chemical sensitivities. Inspired to share what they've learned, Andrea is chronicling their journey on the web.
We as people living in our homes don't know this. And I think we're going to wake up. I think it's coming, just like lead poisoning, tobacco.
I want to get to the redemption side of this, but first tell me.
Chris Fabry is hosting his radio show in a makeshift studio.
The missiles is gonna come. Don't worry. All right. But yeah, I just wanted to put that out there, man. Hopefully this has been edifying. Shalom.